How we doing?
Hey!
Take two.
Um,
We're back.
Yay!
The
Dun,
crowd goes wild.
dun,
The crowd goes wild.
dun.
And your voice sounds delightfully delicious.
I told you. Michael!
Yes, Monique.
Cut it out. Anyway, hey guys. It's your
Hi,
girl, Mo. And it's your guy, Mike.
Mike. All right. Tell them where to find us, Mo.
All right, this is take two. You can find us at YouTube at The Mike and Mo Show, as well as Spotify and Apple Music. Also, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at mike.mo.show. Like, DM us, and subscribe. And
All
that's
the
it.
things.
All the things. I did good. I
Yay.
did
Well
good. I want to
done.
yay. That was nerve wracking. That's so much pressure. I don't know how you do it every week.
I don't know. I just black out, honestly.
You just stare into space.
Yep. Just got to go into
Anyway,
your own world.
you have to go into your own
Anywho.
world, man.
Yeah. You going crazy though? We going crazy? What were we talking about? What was the segue you had? You had a great segue
I don't
when we
even
tried to do the first take.
remember. I don't even
Was it?
remember. Long story short, check in on your friends because me, I'm going crazy. Just kidding,
Going
I'm not.
crazy?
But yeah.
Check in
But
on your
today we
friends. That's good
we
advice.
are talking about mental health today.
The health of your mentals.
Yeah. I
Or as
mean,
the late great Marshawn Lynch would say, your chickens.
bro, you be saying stuff and I'm like, what? Who am I supposed to know? How am I
All
supposed
right,
to know this person?
after this, we're gonna Google Marshawn Lynch chickens, and I'm gonna show you the video. It's iconic. It's an iconic video, and you're gonna laugh hysterically, as many of our listeners who know the video that I'm referring to are currently doing.
I
It's
better
gonna be
fucking
great.
laugh. I better laugh. I better ha ha
You
ha ha.
will.
Ha. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Mentals, chickens, all that stuff. Got to take care of it. It's important to keep those healthy,
Yes.
healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul, healthy life, right?
Yes.
Wait, that was the wrong one.
I was like, wait, maybe
I
not.
meant to hit the chimes. Healthy, healthy mind.
I was like, well, the record gets
uh,
scratched. All right, let's
yikes.
focus. Let's focus. Let's focus. But yeah, so I feel like we should talk about this because the weather's getting bad. Like, I mean, in Michigan here, it was cold. It was supposed to snow like yesterday morning, I think, or 2 mornings ago.
Dude, it did. My parents sent me pictures of snow in
Oh,
Ohio. So
really?
just down the road from y'all in Cleveland. Yeah, it was snowing.
Dang. It's crazy
Mhm.
because like the fall is so beautiful, but like it starts getting colder out and it starts getting darker earlier and like it really can be depressing. Like seasonal depression, I feel like
Yeah.
even if you wouldn't like label it as depression, it's still like, damn.
It's
Like,
like
you know what I mean?
seasonal mental stress. I mean,
Seasonal
that's like
suck. It's
very
just
real.
seasonal suck. Like
Yeah. 100%. Yeah,
yeah.
so you and I both grew up in the North, so we know what it's like to endure long, cold winters that are just brutal. And
Mhm.
honestly, like this time of year, and granted, I'm sitting in Florida where it's still sunny and warm, so I
What
can't
is
really
you
say too
sitting in the
much on this topic.
sunshine state?
Yeah, endless summer, baby, endless summer. Anywho, back when I did live in the North, I remember like this time of year though wasn't too bad because it's like, football season's in full swing. You got Halloween coming up, then you got
Right.
Thanksgiving, then you got
Right.
Christmas and New Year's, and it's like all the excitement and habla of the holidays and everything. And it's like
Yeah.
getting chilly for the first time. So you're busting out all
Mhm.
your cute winter gear and you're like all
Yeah.
excited about it because you can cuddle under the covers
Yeah.
and drink some hot cocoa or some
Yeah.
hot apple cider. And you're just having a good old time, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then but
Dun,
then,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun, dun, New Year's Eve comes and goes, and you're just staring in the face like 3 more months at
Mhm.
least of cold, dark misery. And that
Yep.
that is when it gets really bad. January, February, March, and you're just like,
Yeah.
please,
You're like,
God,
"What
give
is
us
going
warmth.
on?" Yeah. You know how I get
Mhm.
through those, like, annoying months, though? All the time,
Tell
ever since
us.
I was, like, in school, I'd be like, "Okay, January, we got Martin Luther King weekend, we're gonna have the day off, like or the weekend off, whatever." Then I'm like, "Okay, next, we got
Yeah.
President's Day weekend, that's
Yep.
another 4-day weekend or whatever." Then March, what do we have in March? We'll have spring break. I'd be like, all right, we can just make it through spring break. And then April, I'm
St.
like, okay,
Patty's Day.
East. We don't have no days off for that though, right?
No, but it's still fun.
I
Got
don't be
it. Small
celebrating
victories here.
that,
Small
but
victories.
okay,
Got to celebrate the small victories.
okay, yeah. And then in April, I'd be like Easter. We get a day off, I think.
You typically, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Praise
Um.
Jesus.
Right. Hey, he
He
rose.
is risen.
Um. Mhm. And then yeah, by that time it's like, well, it's May. School's pretty much over now, so that's that. Memorial Day, and then boom,
Yeah.
summertime's here.
Summer.
So that's how I do it. That's
Summertime.
how I've been living my life. That's how I've been getting through the first 3 months of the year.
Yeah. You just break it up in those increments like,
Yeah.
okay, we just got to get to Martin Luther King. Okay, we got to get to President's Day. Okay, we got to
Right.
get to what about
Right.
Valentine's Day? You throw that in there as like
Nah,
a pro or
because
a
it
con?
it could be bad. Like if you care about Valentine's Day, that could
Mhm.
be like another little like peak of depression
Yeah.
thrown at you. You know what I mean?
Especially if
So
you ain't with somebody to celebrate Valentine's Day
yeah.
with, like, celebrating Valentine's Day single is not fun.
I mean, unless you have like your girlfriends. Because one time I got with my girls and we like dressed up and like went out to dinner. Um,
Mm.
so you
Like a
could
bunch
make
a group of girls, like single girls?
yeah.
All the single ladies?
It's not all of them were single, I don't think. We did it, like, on a Saturday, so the girls that did have a man or whatever could be with their man, but I mean, it was, like, just a cute thing, but yeah, like, if you're, like, really big into that and you're by yourself and you actually care about being by yourself, then that can be very depressing too. So maybe just, like, fast forward to President's Day weekend.
Good advice, good advice. Okay.
Yeah, but
So,
anyway.
mental health, though. People who, do not have to suffer the long, brutal winters of the North still struggle with mental health, though.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
not
yeah.
something that
It's
is
not a seasonal
exclusive to the
thing.
wintertime.
Yeah.
Can be brought on by the seasons, but, I don't know. It's a grander topic than just that, right?
It is. And I was gonna ask you too, when I was thinking about this topic, like, I feel like back in the day, people wouldn't really talk about it as much. Like, I feel like recently in the past, like 5 to 10 years, it's been a major thing. And I feel like I've heard older people not necessarily complain about it, but kind of like, why is like it mental health awareness month? Like, what does that even mean? Like, we didn't have that, da 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 da. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I think it's important to acknowledge it. Like, you know what I mean? Do you feel like it do you
Sure,
have you
yeah.
seen that change or no, you feel like it's always been a thing that you've been
Well, I
used to
feel like
hearing about?
there's still a negative stigma in a lot of people's minds when they just hear or see the phrase mental health. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's so much more than just the stereotypical phrase and stigmatized phrase of mental health,
Mhm.
right? It's when you think of it in terms of your whole being, like I was kind
Yeah.
of joking about it earlier, but I was also being serious. Like your mind, your body, your soul, right? If you don't take care of those three things, then if one of those three things is lacking, then you're probably bound to live a pretty shitty life or like not have an ideal, I don't know, an ideal life.
Or
So,
not yeah,
uh
not
oh,
not living to, like, the fullest, I guess, that you can. What's uh-oh?
yeah, sorry, my stuff just went out for a second, but we're good. We're back up.
Uh-oh.
Um, so it's important to take care of, right? Like a healthy mind and like being comfortable with your thoughts, being able to control your emotions, being able to have mental resilience when inevitably life gets you down. Those
Yeah.
are all very, very important things, not only to just living a good life, but success, right? Like
Mhm.
we like to identify ourselves as high achievers, right? On the Mike and Mo show. And if you don't have a solid mental state, you know, most of the time, because obviously we're all gonna have bad days, but if you
Yeah.
don't have a solid grasp on your mental health, then it can really inhibit you in life. Like,
Yeah.
you and I have both gone through shitty phases of our lives where when your mental state is compromised, you can't do anything else. At least I
Right,
know I
yeah.
have. I've had times in my life where it's been like this one thing is weighing me down so much that I literally can't think about anything else. And then every other facet of your life starts to decay or crumble or struggle because of that.
Yeah. It's a lot. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. Oh, I know how we got on the topic. It's just because you asked me, like, how my week was, and I was telling you about my week, and it's a
Yeah.
lot, and I feel like, I never really struggled too much with my mental health, I feel like. Like, I haven't
Mhm.
really had much to complain about. Like, I'm pretty positive and stuff for the most part. Like, I don't really like to complain, or I try not to at least. And if I do complain, it's not anything about, like, anything serious, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
recently, I just haven't really been, like, feeling like myself, I guess you can say.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think part of it is because I'm getting older and I'm like, changing, growing up a little bit more. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But like more like finding out like who I am and who I want to be. I feel like it can be a good thing because you do need to like sometimes stop and reassess. And I
Yeah.
feel like the reason why I've been down for a while is because I've been, like you said, like pretty successful all throughout my life. And yeah, I've had struggles and I've overcome them and stuff. And like, or I've done challenging things that sucked, but here I am. But I feel like I'm just kind of burned out, like tired. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Really.
I don't want to keep I don't wanna keep challenging Mo, and I don't wanna keep doing the hard jobs, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I'm like, "Well, what do I wanna do?" Like, that I used to think, like, that is who you are. You always do the hard jobs, like, you know what I mean? Like, you always take the leadership positions, you become a pilot, like, you always do the hard shit. And I'm like, "I don't know, like, I kinda wanna be lazy." But I feel like that's not who I am either. So, I don't know. That's how I feel
Well,
right
so
now.
let's talk about that though. I think that's a very important piece of the whole mental health pie, right? Is
Yeah.
and me and Michelle were just talking about this the other
Here
day
he
too.
go
Especially,
again.
I know, right? I'm
Shout out
bring
to
her up too much. So
Michelle.
is
No, we love her. We love her.
we do indeed. But we are talking about how in the United States, especially, right, our culture and society is so success oriented and work oriented, and we
Yeah,
live our lives trying to achieve more societal success, whether that be having some cool title of like being a naval aviator or a coast guard pilot or whatever, or like being a business owner or having a lot of money, right? We
right.
strive for that societal success.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to some of the foreign pilots, that we went through training with, and
Mhm.
particularly the Spanish pilots. And I was having dinner with them one time, and they said that, Americans, we live to work, but they work to live, meaning
Yeah.
they live their life, and the only reason why they work is to sustain their basic needs of, like food, shelter,
Mhm.
water, all of those things. But they don't care about working in terms of like their purpose on this earth and like why they're
Yeah.
alive. Whereas for
Yeah.
us, a lot of us in the United States, we think that if we aren't waking up every day with the purpose of working towards some
Yeah.
kind of like career goal,
Yeah.
then we're failing in some kind of way, which
Yeah.
is both good and bad, right? Obviously, our
Yeah.
country is very strong and powerful, and we have a lot of really smart people who have done a really great job at creating awesome things for mankind. But that comes with the consequence of sometimes we burn ourselves out, like you feel like, and we feel bad when we want to just
Yeah.
have a break or
Yeah. Or I feel
not
like
do anything, or
we put a lot of pressure on ourselves sometimes too. Yeah.
like even you just saying, I just want to be lazy. Immediately, you tried to retract that statement because
Because I just
you felt bad
I
about
don't
it, right?
know. Well, because I just feel like I don't like lazy people and I don't like being lazy, but I don't know what I want, but I agree. Yes, like it's like you don't want to be lazy. You just don't whatever I'm doing now, I don't want to do it. I don't necessarily want to do nothing, but I just don't want to
You
do
want to be
whatever
doing
I'm doing
something
now.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's the same thing. Like I don't want to work so hard. I don't want to go to work all the time. Maybe I just want to, work on my house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still do
Yep.
something, but I just don't want to do what other people want me to do, I guess,
Mhm.
but that's what a job is doing what other people want you to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
And,
mean, oh,
like,
go
let's
ahead.
just also put this to bed real quick. You are the furthest thing from a lazy person of in like any human being I've ever met. So
Okay.
you taking a break and not wanting to go to work or do hard things for a little while is it's normal, right? Like that again, I think is part of the mental health equation, right? Is sometimes
Yeah.
just being like, I literally do not have the capacity to give any energy to the world right now. I just
Yeah.
need to be with
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, that's a great that okay, that sounds beautiful. That's like you just described how I felt and Now we just have to call my supervisor and let him know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Be like, "Sir, I have 0 energy to give to you right now."
Honestly, yeah. But no, so, like, for you at least, do you feel like you prioritize your mental health, and, like, what does that look like to you?
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a tough question for me because I definitely, when I was younger, probably had the stigma that I talked about earlier of mental health being like a crutch and not really something that needed to be addressed. But
Mhm.
I definitely had some moments, especially in college, where I was like not in a good spot mentally. And I like went to a therapist one time and tried that whole thing. And it was,
Yeah.
I guess, helpful. But now I haven't been to a therapist. That was like years ago. I haven't been in a
Mhm.
while. But you still have those phases of life where you just feel like you're in a rut and you don't know like what
Yeah.
to do. You're just
Yeah.
mentally fucked up.
Mhm.
So in those moments, it's definitely important to lean on people who care about you. And if you feel like you don't have enough people who care about you, therapists are generally there to help and generally tend to care about you.
Mhm.
Um, so that can be a useful tool. But in terms of like what I do to, I guess, strengthen my mental resolve and have a good, I don't know, healthy mental state
Yes.
is I think I think gratitude is probably the most important tool that you can use to um I don't know, just
No,
help
I
your
like
mental
that.
health.
I think I get what you're saying. So one thing I would do is, like, again, I don't really like to complain, and I do think that although people from the outside looking in on my life might be like, "Oh, she has it so well, like, she's
Right.
great and like she has it so easy." So I know my life could be much worse, and so that's why I try not to complain. But when I do have sucky days, because everybody does have them, I do like to just like sit here and be like, I still have my mother and father here, and I still, I'm still able to talk to them. I still have my sister. I have a dog. Like, I try not to take things like that for granted. Like, I have this house that I'm grateful for. The fact that, like, sometimes I just walk Coda and I just like walk down the street and I'm like, wow, like the fact that I can walk down the street, that's a blessing. Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm just very spiritual. I know I am. But I just am
Yeah,
so grateful for the little things. Like the fact that I could literally just hop in my car and drive to get gas, that I can afford gas. Like, you know what I mean? At least I think that's what you're talking about. Like sometimes
100%.
doing that does make me feel better because I'm like, yeah, it's okay to have a sucky day, but things could be worse, and let's be grateful for the things that we do have.
Mhm.
So it does make me feel better a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's important though for uh I don't know. I mean, I would classify you as an optimistic person. I don't know if you would classify me as an optimistic person,
I
but
definitely
other
would.
people have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, us being optimistic people, right? It's probably hard for other people who aren't like that naturally, like they don't have a tendency to be that optimistic. It's probably hard for them to listen to us right now
Yeah.
talk about, "Oh, just be gracious and practice gratitude and that'll help,"
Right.
right? They're probably
Yeah.
like, "Well, fuck you, dude, because I
Right.
just can't think that way," right? So,
Yeah, it is tough.
to people like that, right, who do struggle more, I would say, it right, like, we still have bad days. As optimistic as you and I
Mhm.
are, like we just talked about, we still have shitty days, and no matter how perfect your life is, no matter how hard you try to make yourself whole and well and successful in whatever kind of way you measure that, you're still gonna have bad days. But the important thing to remember is that without bad days, there could never be good days. You have to have
That is
contrast,
true.
or
Yeah.
else it's all just bleh.
That
There
is
is
so
no
true.
good without bad.
Yeah. Wow,
So
that's really good too. Good job. No, because I and I sometimes I get caught up. Like, it's so easy for me to talk to somebody. If you came to me with a problem, I'd be able to be like, "Yeah, like all you have to do is this," or like, you know what I mean? Think about it this way. But sometimes when it comes to yourself, I know for at least me, I am very hard on myself. And yes, it looks like Kyla's having fun and she's happy on the outside, but on the inside, I'm giving myself an ass whooping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you
right,
should be
you're
you
your
should be
biggest
doing
critic.
this. Right. And that's a good reminder too. Like, I don't know, talk to yourself like you were talking to maybe a friend or like a loved one. If you are the type of
Yeah,
person like me that's hard on yourself, still hold yourself accountable. I'm not saying like, slack off and stuff like that, but like you just said, give yourself grace, you know? I think that
Mhm.
does help. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Can't have
know,
the highs
but
without the lows.
I do like that you said that you went to a therapist because I know,
I was gonna
like,
ask you, have you?
no, well, so, oh, I guess I have. So, but not really. It's weird. So,
Okay.
let me think. So after, so there was a shooting, as you know, and it's Pensacola, and
Mhm.
I was like in the building that day, and they did have
Maybe
like,
explain that a little more
okay,
for
I'm
viewers who
like,
may
should
not know
I?
about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
look
yeah,
it
yeah.
up. No,
I
I'm
mean,
just
it's
kidding.
on national news, you know?
It was. Literally, I came home and
Yeah,
watched the news that day. But yeah, so what happened was, and what was the year? 2021? No, it's 2019. And
2019.
yeah, I reported into flight school in July, and then I started my first day of class on December 6th. And we were like in our classroom upstairs in this building on base. And typically on base, you're not allowed to bring guns. They like, can search your car at the front gate and stuff like that. But, we're in class and our instructor isn't there yet. So we're just sitting there all at our desks, and next thing you know, we hear, like, loud noises. And I mean, we've all been through, like, weapons training and stuff like that. Like, I've shot a gun plenty of times before, but it's, like, 6 a.m. So who would've nobody thinks you're gonna hear gunshots on a military base in a classroom at 6
Mhm.
AM. You know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
hear it, and it sounds like somebody like slammed a book on the ground. So we're like, everybody's kind of freaking out. We're like, what, 24-year-olds? Like, we're kind of young. And so we decided as a group that like we're gonna leave the classroom. And so we all like run out the classroom. There's probably 20 of us. As we're running out, there was a active shooter in the building, and we ran out the building. We all ran left because we heard the gunshots to the right. And two of my friends who were behind me, they looked right and they saw him. I didn't look right because I'm not like I'm an athlete, but I'm not an athlete. I need to just focus on the task at hand. Like if I look this way, Imma just look where I'm running, not look and then.
Yeah.
So I ran and we all ran or whatever. And we like sprinted, we like hauled ass. And we got the instructors, and long story short, like turns out there was an active shooter. I don't know if they determined that it was a terrorist attack though. I do know that it was one of our international students. I forget from
I
what
believe they did
country.
label it a terrorist
That's
attack
what I
because I'm pretty
thought.
sure one of the terrorist organizations, like, even
They
took credit for
claim
it.
right. But yeah, so, like, everything was left in the classroom, like, my keys, my phone well, we weren't even allowed to bring our phones into the building at that time just because it was a really secure building, apparently. But yeah,
Allegedly.
so right. But yeah, so, like, we were all, like, pretty much stranded on base because obviously they shut once they got the shooter and 3 people passed away that day, and my other friend, she had gotten shot, too, because they were downstairs, like, um, yeah, they shut down the base. So once we were able to get off base, you couldn't come back on because we have to do a whole investigation. So like literally weeks later, I was able to get my backpack and my keys and stuff like that. But yeah, so why I'm telling you this is because afterwards, they invited some people to talk to us and offer us like therapy or whatever because obviously that's pretty traumatic. Like you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know. Again, you're in military training. I'm in flight school. Like I don't want to stop my training to f talk about this because I would rather be in class getting this training done. Like, I already waited 6 months to start flight school. I don't wanna, delay any longer.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's the one time they
And
offered it.
also, there's
Okay.
also the stigma, right, like, of us being in a profession that is deadly,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It comes with the job, and if you are not prepared to face that, then you're probably not in the line of work, right? So,
Yeah.
there's definitely the stigma of, like,
Yeah.
"Well, this sucks, this is tragic," but it
Right.
is still, something that we all kinda knew may happen, maybe not in this way, but at some
Right.
point in some kinda way.
Yeah, and I think that is also what happened. So there was about the plane crash that occurred too.
Mhm.
In 2021, or no, excuse me, 2020, the next year.
Yep. Yeah, it was a year after.
Yeah,
Was it?
so
Was it
I'm
2021?
thinking
Oh,
of
yeah,
it was it was
it was
it was
2020,
20.
yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so like yeah. So they offered us therapy after one of the students crashed in a plane accident. And again, I was just like I literally I was like on my 5th flight in the T6, and I'm like I
Mhm.
don't have time to stop. I don't want to. I want to keep going. But then turns out, like, in the beginning, I was having, like, a lot of anxiety when I was flying because
Really?
I mean, I knew the girl, like, we went to school together, we graduated together, like, we did CrossFit together at school and stuff like that. Like, we were cool. So, I guess, like, it was I don't know, like, I felt it was just weird. So, yeah, so I went to see this therapist, whatever, and I was talking to her, and yeah. But again, I had to stop because 'cause I'm like, "I don't have time for this." But I do think one of the things I wanna do is, like, eventually talk to somebody, you know what I mean? I
About
wanna talk
what, those experiences and
about
how
those
those affect you?
experience and about life in general, you know what I mean? I feel like even if you
Yeah.
never had anything like that happen to you, like anything traumatic, even if you grew up in the perfect family with the perfect life, I still think it's good to talk to a therapist because why not? Like, it's just those conversations that you might have with them just could be beneficial, you know? You never know what
Yeah.
you're gonna get out of it.
I know plenty
Yeah.
of people who go to therapy on a regular basis and, they're well, like, they're
They're
good
well,
people, they're high
period. Like, they're
achieving,
just
they're
well.
well, yeah, they're
Yeah.
well, yeah, for sure. So, no, yeah, there's definitely a space for that to kinda be incorporated into a normal daily routine. Not daily,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean, like a
Yeah.
normal life routine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's interesting though. I think people like you and I, Mo, just tend to struggle with vulnerability, perhaps.
Yes. When I feel I'm like, "Yes,
Yeah.
you're right."
Yeah, we like to be the people that take care of shit, right? Like, we like
Right,
to
yeah.
have the answers, we like to get the things done, we
Right.
like to be the one that other people can rely
Right,
on,
yeah,
and
and I'll
it's
deal with my
hard for
feelings
us.
later. I'll deal with them later, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard for us to be in a position of weakness, which is essentially, like, what going to therapy is, right? Like, they try and find your vulnerabilities, they try and
Yeah,
find what is bothering you, and to do that, you have to show
vulnerable.
weakness, be vulnerable, yeah.
Yeah, just open up.
Right, but it's good, though, I mean, anytime I've done that with people, because again, I haven't really gone to therapy all that much. I've been to like one real one. But anytime I've done that
Mhm.
with other people that I just trust or love in my life, it always tends to end well in my
Yeah.
experience, I guess. I mean, the flip side of that is obviously if you are vulnerable with the wrong person in a relationship or something like that, then that could have negative consequences. But I think it always is a net positive, right? Like being vulnerable with people and caring about other people's vulnerabilities is how you build relationships with people, not just
Right.
romantic, but like friendships and
Right, yeah.
even like business partnerships, right? You gotta,
Mhm.
because people are never gonna trust you if you don't ever
Right.
show them your weaknesses. Like that's just
Right,
a
yeah.
fact, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. There's definitely value there.
Mhm. Yeah. So, like, I think you talked about gratitude. I don't know if I shared what I do, did I? I don't know.
No, I don't think you did. Go for it. What
Okay.
do you do to help stay rock
Some
solid mentally?
things I stay rock solid physically. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, but working out does definitely help.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because again, when I treat myself well in terms of like, I like to wake up early, start my day off well. Like, you know what I mean? It makes me feel good. I don't really feel good when I like lay in the bed and just sit. But that's just me. And then I also
Mhm.
like to work out. I feel like it does help. Like, every once in a while, like I'll be like, "Oh, let's have a pizza and let's stay up late and let's drink." But for the most part, I'm
But
like, let's let's hydrate ourselves because you really do. I do feel like there is a connection between being physically fit and then being mentally fit. Like,
of course.
that's just me.
Yeah.
And then for me, at least too, I'm very like, I pray a lot and stuff like that. But one thing, okay, I've been feeling off this week, y'all. But one thing I think that has led to that is because I usually go to church on Sundays and I haven't been attending. I've been watching it online, and I never really
Yeah.
watch online. I
Not the
would
same.
always like it's not the same, and it's the same church. Obviously, I'm not in Florida anymore. Shout out to Legacy House, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think I need to like start doing that again. Also, one other thing that I need to do is I realized I was talking with a friend and I realized that I feel much better when I'm active. So not just
Yeah.
like I like when I'm active in terms of like I like to volunteer or like play a sport on the side. Like, you know what I mean? Like not only just focus on my job, but I need to like, roller skate, go play tennis or like go
Mhm.
volunteer down the street. So I need to start doing that more. You know what I mean? Like just to get my mind
Right.
on different things, like still work in my mind, but more for fun things, not just Not just, like, sitting at the house watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series, which I did watch the whole thing. You know, I think that's what was
You
messing
did?
me up too. I did. I
That's why you're in a
did.
funk. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you did
Ding,
it. You
ding,
done did it.
ding. Ding, ding, we found out what Mo's issue is, and now I'm better. Yay.
Yeah, I was trying to find a good sound effect for that, but I don't think we really have one. Yeah, I don't know.
A
Anywho,
a beep.
a beat. I was trying to see if we had like one of those like alarms, like but we don't.
Ding,
We need to
ding,
get some more
ding.
sound effects. That's on our
We do.
producers. They need to get on their shit.
I know, right? They slacking. They slacking and they
Yeah,
lacking.
it's lacking.
Dang.
They lacking. I know. We need to have a talk with them.
Yeah. No, for real.
uh,
That's you, buddy.
um,
That's you.
I know that's
Ooh.
the by producers we mean Mike. Um, but what we were just talking about, yeah, being
What I
active
do,
though,
yeah.
like doing stuff. And so me and Michelle, not to bring her up again, I know, I'm
Here we
sorry.
go.
I'm a man
Here
of
we
love.
go.
But me and Michelle were talking about this, and I think you two have similarities though, because it's like y'all just moved to a new place. Like you
Yeah.
completely like you went through a major life change, and I'm about to do this as well. Like I'm about to
Right.
leave Pensacola. I'll be moving in a
Yeah.
couple months, so like
Mhm.
I'll be in the same boat here. But you know, I've moved several times as an adult, and
Right.
so I feel like I'm kind of aware of it, and obviously, like having an awareness of it before it happens is good and helpful. But you know, it's also still good to talk to, and it doesn't necessarily prevent this from happening. But anytime you do move to a new place, especially a place where you don't really know a lot of people, it is
Yeah.
so hard to feel comfortable
Yeah.
because you don't have that solid group of people that you can rely on and just like
Mhm.
hang out with or call up to like go do something fun with. You know, you like
Yeah.
don't have the church that you're comfortable with yet going
Right,
to every
yeah.
Sunday. You don't have your favorite coffee shop like locked down and loaded.
Right.
You don't have like
Bro,
all the like little all
I'm
the
telling
little
you, man.
routines,
Yeah.
all the little routines in life that we never even think about, but they're so important to our mental health
Yeah.
because we don't think about them. We know what we like because we've lived in this
Right.
place, we've been in the same house or whatever, and you know, it takes a while to build those up, months, if not
Yeah.
years, to really get not comfortable because like I
Adjusted?
don't want to
Adjusted,
adjusted,
maybe.
yeah, but like comfortable maybe is the right word too. But point being, it takes a while for all that to happen. And so being in a new place on top of like starting essentially a new job, right? Like you're in a new phase of your job. It's not entirely new, but new job, new place,
Yeah.
new house, right?
Yeah.
Like all of these things that are happening that are new all at once can really affect you as a person. And like, cause I mean,
Right.
I felt it when I moved to Pensacola. When I moved here 3 years ago, I was in a rut for like 6 months. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel
Wow.
like on top of things. I didn't feel super happy and fulfilled and all that stuff. And I didn't really like the place I lived. But over time, that does get better. That's like it's a natural human thing to feel not normal when you're in a new environment.
Well, you're kinda I don't know, like, I'm glad you said that because now I'm like, "Okay, it's not just me." Because everything you said,
It's
like,
not.
that's why I got so excited about the coffee shop. Because 'cause I'm like, "Bro, I've literally been, like, telling myself I need to find a coffee shop so I can, like, get back in the studying zone." But,
hmm
yeah, but I don't wanna be this way for 6 months, though, like, that was the depressing part about it, like, dang.
Yeah, I mean that's just, and it may not take 6 months, but it's gonna take time, and that's really the only thing. The only way to speed it up is just to try and do more things, I guess, to try and like you said, go you like going to church. You haven't been going to church. Like go try new churches. You may not
Yeah,
like them all. You're probably not going to like the first one you go to, but you just got to keep
probably
trying
not.
until you find the right
Yeah,
one. Go to a bunch of different coffee shops. You're probably not going to like the first one you go to, but you just got to keep going to a bunch. You got to try and meet people, like do things to go out and meet people. You're probably not going to become lifelong friends with the first couple of people you meet, but
yeah.
eventually you'll meet somebody that you do really connect with and that becomes a good friend of yours. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you just
Look at
gotta
you, speaking
repetition, repetition.
facts. Not you being my therapist. I'm about to subscribe, like, "Hey,
Should we
I
start
need."
that? Mike and Mo therapy?
It's just mic therapy. Mo is just gonna be hard on you, like, "Get your shit together."
No, that's good therapy too. You give me good therapy sometimes when I need it as well.
No, no, I'm just a bully.
No, you're not a bully at all.
Anyway, well, I try
Yeah.
not to be. But yeah. No.
So what other things though, I guess specifically I guess, is there like any kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to say here, like specific things that make you feel a specific way, like kind of like
Like,
I don't,
bad
whether you
things or
have like
good
a
things?
bad things, like what things compromise your mental health? Like what sort of interactions, what sort of
Mm,
activities, what sort of just unexpected events
I
really kind
think
of like set you off edge that you've identified as you gotten older?
ugh, so well, okay, 1, the sleeping in late,
Mhm.
like, just really doesn't like, that's how I start off my day. If I start off my day sleeping in late, it's hard for me to bounce back. I know it sounds
Yeah.
very dramatic, but that's just who I am, like, you know what I mean? I will also say, like, getting out of shape, that is, like so right now, I still feel off, but I'm really, like, fighting. I literally it's a mental thing. I literally have to fight myself every day to work out because 'cause I'm like, "Bro, I can't let." Again, I can't the mental is slipping right now. The mental doesn't feel very strong or where I want it to be, but I can't let the physical slip. The spiritual is slipping because 'cause I'm not going to church, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like certain things start to just go through my hands. I'm like, "Alright, like, we don't wanna go all the way down. Let's" like, I feel like I'm, like, gripping at the air, like, "Alright," like, you know? But I
Yeah.
would say, well, never mind. I was gonna talk about how, like, I feel better, but I'll keep answering your question. So, yeah, so, like, eating right, I still have to make sure I eat okay, like, you know what I mean? Just because 'cause you're having a bad day doesn't mean you need to let everything slip, and I can't, like, emphasize that enough. I don't even know how to describe it in a way. I don't know if it makes sense to everyone else, but, like, you have to keep doing the things that you know are good for you, if that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Like,
definitely struggle with that.
it's hard because you're just like, I don't want you're in that right. You're like, I don't want to. Like, I literally have a book that I started reading because I'm like, I have to read a book. Like, not for studying or anything, but just a fun book. Cause I just know,
Mhm.
think about all the things that you've done in life that make you feel good. I know playing tennis makes me happy. I know roller skating makes me happy. I know reading a book makes me happy. I know volunteering makes me happy. I think, like, if you struggle with mental health, literally try to, like, focus on the things that have made you feel good, and you really have to force yourself to do them.
Yeah.
And I think you will see a change because I know I have. Like, it's annoying, but I think it'll be good for you, you know?
Right.
I mean,
That's the
do you have
thing is
things
like,
or
I mean, there's a lot that sets me off, I guess. We're all human
yeah,
here. But
yeah,
the oh man, I just lost my train of thought though. What was I gonna say in response to that? Oh, like we all know what we need to do to be the best version of ourselves, right? Like if more
yeah,
information was the answer, then we'd all be millionaires with six packs because we've never
right,
had more access to information in in the history of humanity. Like we
right,
have so much information available to us. So
right.
we all know like what is good for us generally and what is bad for us. But
Mhm.
we're also human, and that's the beauty of it is like you're gonna have bad days. And
Yeah,
the key is just keep fighting, right? Because I definitely struggle with what you just kind of talked about. When I have a bad day or when I wake up feeling or when I like I don't know, just get pissed off or sad or something like
yeah,
early in my day, I tend to like snowball. And usually I'm just
yeah.
like, that's a wrap.
Yep.
I have no energy to give to the world. I just need to be with myself. And like
Nope.
everything goes to shit. But
Yeah,
and like that may or may not be the right way to handle it. But I really have found that sometimes, like for me personally, that works because I have definitely been through phases in my life where I've tried to like combat a negative thing with like overdoing a positive thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
yeah,
Like, if I feel
yeah.
bad or like if I eat a shitty meal, then I'm like, oh my God, I have to go to the gym right now and like work this
Mm-mm,
off. You know what I mean?
mm-mm.
And then I feel like that in the past only compounded my stress and anxiety and
Yeah,
bad feelings.
yeah,
And now as I've gotten older, I have learned to just kind of accept the bad
yeah.
and be like, this is a shitty day.
Right.
That is okay. We're
Yeah.
gonna reattack tomorrow. You
I
know what
think
I
it's a
mean?
good reset. Like, you have to give yourself, like I was saying before, like, give yourself that grace. Because again, it's okay to do the bad things, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? As long as they're not, like, really bad, like, don't if you're sober, maybe we shouldn't, like, relapse. But, you know what I mean?
Don't go
That was
killing nobody.
right, yeah, exactly. But, yeah, like, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes allow yourself to have those bad moments because I feel like it's a reset. You have to like you can't be on 100 all the time. You can't be perfect all the time. You can't be killing it all the time. You have to have those like chill lazy days or bummy moments or like you know what I mean? Just but I just say as long as you are aware that you are allowing yourself to have that bad moment or that bad day, I think that's okay. Just be aware. Because what could happen is you can fall into a slippery slope. But again, if you're aware and you're like, hey, I'm gonna allow myself to like really just have this bad day, and then we're gonna go get them next tomorrow or next week, that could
Yeah.
be okay. You know what I mean? Just try to
Mhm.
control it and just, acknowledge
Mhm.
it, what you're doing.
Yeah. And it
That's
doesn't
it.
work for everybody. Like
It doesn't.
your kind of strategy of like, okay, if you have one slip up, don't allow that to turn into 10 slip ups. That might work for some people. Again, my strategy of like this day's a wash, we'll reattack tomorrow. That works for me because
Yeah.
like I've learned to trust myself and know that inherently I want to be good and better than I am now. And I know that like I'm going to have more good days than bad days. And so if I do just give myself that space and grace as you said of having a bad day, I know tomorrow I'm going to wake up like that much more motivated to make that day better.
But I think
Whereas
it's
again in the past,
no, go ahead.
good.
No, because you said you trust yourself. Maybe that's the issue. I don't trust myself. I feel like I've had moments where I didn't take control of it. I allowed it to just continue on and on and
Mm,
on. Like, you know what I mean? I think it takes a lot of like strength. You may not feel this way, but I do like, commend you for being able to get it back together when you choose to get it back together. You know what I mean? Because I know
yeah.
I'll be like, I'm gonna get it together tomorrow or the next day, and I'm like, it's still not together, girl, and it's getting pretty ugly. You know,
Yeah, I
so
mean, don't get me wrong, I am far from perfect. So,
yeah.
and as we
But
all are, right?
it's about knowing who you are, and I feel like that's part of it
Mhm.
too, though. Like, you have a good understanding of who you are and how your body and your mind reacts by certain decisions you make and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's good. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just continuing to learn how like figure that out in my big age.
Your big age?
Yes. Don't say it cuz remember before when you thought I was a
Yeah, I thought you were
different
younger than you
age?
were. I know.
I know I look
You
good
are a
for
little
my
older than
age,
I thought you were,
but
but you are still not a big age, my friend.
okay. Thank
We're out
you.
here thriving. We're in the prime of our lives, baby.
Yeah, live it up. He like, "Was she tired?" Oh,
This
anyway,
is a good talk though. Good
it
topic.
really was, and I like feel better. Like I hope you guys listening and watching got something out of this. But honestly, at the end of the day, I know I did because really, again, Mike,
We're just
you
doing this
you
for
were
us.
yeah for real. Listen, Mike is my therapist now. This is no longer the Mike and Mo show. This is like Kyla's therapy sessions with Mike. Stay tuned for the next episode if you want to listen up. But
It's a lot
yeah,
of
and I
pressure.
think one thing I would say is that I think hopefully y'all saw like how Mike and I were interacting. If you don't have like a friend who you could talk like this to, try to find one. DM us if you want. We'll be your friend. We might not give you the best advice, but we'll try. You know what I mean? But I do think it's so important just to have people like Mike and myself or whatever who you can just talk to. It doesn't have to be a serious conversation, but you can trust each other, be vulnerable, feel weak, I
Mhm.
guess. You know what I mean? And not feel judged. So definitely try to look into that if you can. That's all I
Yeah.
have.
Be kind. Be kind to people and they'll be kind back to you.
Maybe not. They probably not. I don't know about that. They might.
I believe most people are good. AKA Tim McGraw. Great
See,
man.
I
Good
hate
song. He sang
everyone,
that song, right?
so now I
What?
don't know what Tim
Yeah,
McGraw
I know, I know.
sang.
Most people are good. It's a song by Tim McGraw. But wait, you don't believe that? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Everybody gets on my nerves, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, people are alright.
They can be shitty though. People can
Yeah,
suck.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong.
People
Most is a
trash.
very fluid word there. Most
Right.
people are good. Not all.
Yes,
Not all.
yes, yes. But just make sure the people that are around you are good, and that's a good start. We'll start from there.
It is indeed. It's a good start. Product
Anything.
of our environment.
Yes. Anything else before we head out?
Sayonara. Last plug for the show. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at mike.mo.show, or look us up on YouTube, the Mike In, and that's the letter in Mo Show. Check us out. We obviously are going to drop this episode and have a bunch of other episodes there for you guys to listen to. If you just want to listen to us on audio, we got our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and anywhere else that you find your podcast. Like, subscribe, follow, DM us, do all the things. We love and appreciate you all.
And bye.
That's a wrap.